All right, everybody, welcome back. This is The End of the World with Michael and Stu.
I'm Michael.
And I'm Stu. And today we are talking about one of the great geniuses, creator of one of the masterpiece companies of all time, and certainly of the last decade. That's right, it's Sam Altman, the former head of Y Combinator and current...
Asshole.
No, Michael.
Great guy.
Just wonderful man.
Yeah.
Genuine.
So curious.
Feeling, thinking, empathizing, emotionally rich, life-having man. Just a wonderful guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before we get into that, we're going to get into that, sort of. Right?
Yeah, I thought, we've been kind of slacking on the news items lately, and that's partly because... what the fuck?
Yeah, I think that's right. I think the combination of the holidays and increasingly cold weather, it's like, let's just talk about a movie.
Yeah. It's fine. You guys, I'm sure, are up on it. We had that one piece of good news about Mamdani winning, and we did an episode of that. And then since then, it's just been more of the same.
Yep.
Just horror.
Just
horror.
It feels like it gets more bald-faced every day. Sort of the exact the thing that we were talking about back in our election coverage, right? Of just, we're basically in this elongated stress test to see how far this is going to unfold. And remarkable to think that we are in year one, right?
I feel like the wheels are really starting to shiver on their axle, on the verge of coming off the wagon, if you will.
I think there's this. I was talking to a friend at a party the other night where it's like, I think it's quite clear that one of the overall consequences is not like an original thought. I wasn't presenting this in any way, but at the party, listen to this idea. But just the sense that like the culmination of this technology that at the same time is on an eternal frontier, right? So we have like this very, brief ephemeral feeling of like, what is the cumulative impact of, let's say, like the internet to now, and it just feels the easiest way to explain it is at best, it's a genuine like user-wide mental health crisis, right?
Yeah, I was going to say a meat grinder that's just kind of ground our psyches down. Like
I think that there is this strange indifferentiation of time as well, where I don't know what
spatio-temporal collapse you might call it.
I don't know what the healthy purpose of trying to get a perspective about the potential length of Trump's term, but it really does bring you into some sort of dark space when you think about how early we are in the second term.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to take heart, January 20th, it'll be 1 year, so that'll be a quarter of it over. Hopefully the midterm elections will go poorly for him, which will basically negate a lot of the evil he might attempt to do in the second half of the term.
Well, I think that'll be interesting to see. Be interesting to see if he doesn't become even more hardened in an attempt to have more executive control over the government.
Well, certainly the Supreme Court is going to make sure that, to the best of their power, that that is the case.
Exactly. Right. So, but yeah, so I think, we do want to cover this stuff, but yeah, I think going up to visit family for Thanksgiving, I mean, you're already, it's a fun but stressful time, and then it's, what is it today, like 20 degrees here? It's just terrible.
It's very cold, yeah.
So we're sort of going to talk about the current state of Altman a little bit, right?
Yeah, so Altman, we'll be getting into his biography very extensively.
I think it's important to say for listeners that the actual topic today, because we wanted to come at it a little bit differently, because of course everyone's talking about these people over and over again. we're going back to it's something of an origin story. There was a huge profile almost 10 years ago now, right? 2016.
Yeah,
Um,
October 2016 in the New
right, of,
Yorker.
of a then much younger, as you can imagine, Sam Altman, and sort of sharing his current situation in Silicon Valley at the time, and some of the very disturbing goals in that he seems to be getting to.
That's right. So before we get into that, though, the latest news for OpenAI is well, this is a story from Bloomberg. I found it via Yahoo Finance, to esteemed web services. OpenAI goes from stock market savior to burden as AI risks mount, is the headline. And basically, it sort of seems like Google has taken the lead in the AI industry. There's a quote here from Brett Ewing, who sounds like someone I went to boarding school with, but is actually not. Um, Probably one of his cousins is the person I'm thinking of. OpenAI was the golden child earlier this year, and Alphabet was looked at in a very different light, said Brett Ewing, chief market strategist at First Franklin Financial Services. Now, sentiment is much more tempered towards OpenAI.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so it seems like, and who could have predicted this? Google's scale has given it something of an advantage
Mhm.
compared to what we see for OpenAI. Basically, the skepticism surrounding OpenAI, the article says, can be dated to August when it unveiled ChatGPT 5 to mixed reactions.
Mixed reviews. People are like going to their letterbox for Chat GPT 5 review.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just it's just hell.
And then I guess the latest issue of edition or version of Google's Gemini AI has received rave reviews on
Really?
AI Letterboxd, apparently. How do they sort? Are they sure that the AI Letterboxd reviews aren't just generated by the AIs themselves? So basically, the fact that Google has these adjacent services, massive cloud business, search, obviously all this other stuff, um, has just positioned them to be more robust than ChatGPT, which is like in this weird neither region. I mean, it's kind of co-owned by Microsoft. Microsoft
Okay.
owns a lot of the intellectual property that they use or have the right to use anything that because of the way the funding's set up. And this goes back kind of to OpenAI's founding, which the article we're going to look at shortly, originally OpenAI was just a nonprofit, right? It was this like advocacy consortium that was
Right.
designed to work on the potential for Skynet, literally. Like,
But wasn't it also, I mean, in the article, isn't there the bit about it was at least partially designed to help prevent malicious
that's
AI
what I
from
mean. It was
taking over.
designed to
Yeah.
prevent Skynet. They didn't want a world-killing AI to develop,
Right, right, sure.
and so, but very quickly they realized, hey, these chatbots we've designed to help in our war against Skynet could be quite lucrative. So this sort of for-profit wing was spun off from the original company. And, now I think things are not looking so great for them long term. Ed Zitron on the Better Offline podcast has a newsletter, is quite a prolific blogger on these matters, has been sort of sounding the alarm about OpenAI and about AI in general for years now. I mean, he's basically like, look, this is all fluff. We're pouring money into something that's a dead end. Is his
Yeah.
is his basic argument. But in particular, because of OpenAI's weird status as like kind of a vassal almost of Microsoft, they're like particularly vulnerable. Whereas like if OpenAI fails, Microsoft just takes all the good stuff from OpenAI and is fine, right? Like,
Right,
like
right, right, right.
Microsoft can absorb an enormous loss easily, whereas OpenAI itself is kind of still in that Uber phase where it's like looking to actually find a model of profitability because basically all of their money now goes to server costs and just CPU power to just generate the enormous
Right.
volume of requests that come
And it
through in
says
each day.
in the article too, OpenAI has announced a number of ambitious deals in recent months. The flurry of activity, right, quote, rightfully brought scrutiny and concern over whether OpenAI can fund all this. I love that it's now. Like these last deals really got us wondering if this, you know.
Yeah, not the ones over the last 3 years. These ones, right?
Now now it's rightful scrutiny and concern.
Right, and I think a lot of them have, like, they did a big partnership with Nvidia, who's one of the the largest chip maker in the world at this point,
Mhm.
and with some other chip companies, and it's like it seems very good. It's like, oh, Nvidia's got a pledge to give X billion dollars to OpenAI, but like if the fine print of it is OpenAI has to hit all these benchmarks that
Yeah.
it's not quite assured that they shall.
I
Um,
think what I basically think about, like, we'll get into it in the next segment, right? But there, you get this the theory of the paperclip theory. You know this?
oh, very well, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
So
Bostrom thing, right?
yeah, explain it quickly, and then
So
I'll.
basically, like, I think this is a little bit of a reductive and ridiculous example, but it's still helpful. Like, if
Yeah.
you programmed an AI model to like create as many paper clips as possible without any guidelines at all, eventually, if it had the means, the AI would strip all the Earth's resources,
Right,
and
or
eventually, like,
murder
well,
lobbyists who are working against the paperclip lobby.
right, and eventually take our atoms and like
Yeah,
through nuclear reactors turn them
yeah.
into iron that could be, just like,
And the reason I wanted to bring that up now, before we get into the article, is like
yeah,
it, I I see a sort of comparison. It's like a human version where, like, instead of an AI being instructed to build paper clips to scale no matter what, right, and to keep going, it feels similar with just the humans who are leading AI,
yeah.
which is just that, like, make it as big and pervasive and invasive and whole as possible, and it essentially without guidelines,
Yeah, well,
environmental, economic, the impact on regular people, like all of that feels very similar to the dangerous paperclip theory that people like was one of
Altman.
the reasons that OpenAI started in the first place,
That's
right?
really well
And
said.
it's
Yeah.
kind of an interesting thing of, like, because human, the classic, like, American bullshit of, like,
Well, it's
the Silicon
capitalism
Valley, yeah, like
itself, right?
innovation. This is
Yeah,
so
yeah.
American. This, like,
American capitalism.
again,
Like,
this, like, eternal frontier. But, like, when you start operating in that way, which they all do, like, oh, you're never even gonna believe what it's gonna be able to do. Even in like 6 weeks, you're not even gonna believe what it can do, right? And it's like, well, I don't care. Like, I see what it's doing in other ways, and
seems quite bad.
I don't care about reinventing my conception of reality in 6 weeks. I'm having a hard enough time with my conception of reality, and it's been 42 years. Okay, like you need to we're just constantly turning on a dime, and you think I'm going to be able to cope with this?
Yeah,
And yeah, then it gets in to everything, and yeah, it's this weird thing of, like, humans, uh, like Sam Altman and Elon Musk, weirdly mimicking the destructive potential of AI
and impulses too, right?
in the very creation of the thing.
It's brilliant, Michael. I love it. It's really well said. No, I hadn't thought of it quite like that. That's fantastic. Yeah, it's a subtle irony, isn't it? That
Yes.
no, but then they'll get up and be like, "No, we're the ones who are going to stop Rocco's basilisk." Eventually,
Don't worry. We've got it under control, but we don't. We might not. So, yeah. Like, what are you guys doing? There was this great. What was it, like? One of those Polymarket or Kalshi or whatever.
oh God, Kalshi, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
they were talking about it on Choppa recently. I don't know if you heard
I did.
but it was funny. But, like, I saw this great tweet where it's like, I forget who it was, might have been Klippenstein, like, someone like that, where he's like, it's the CEO, like, talking, the way that, like, everything's 100x or infinity x, like, that's
Yeah,
the new goal is infinity x, basically. Like, who cares about 10x? What if it's infinity x and we just absorb all information into a tradable asset. And it's like every difference of opinion. And I'm like, wait a minute, like, you know what I mean? Like, we're
Is
building
Stu
a
gonna
market.
like step out of bed with his right foot or his left foot? You know,
Yes,
let's
exactly.
commodify that as soon as possible.
And the tweet was just like the quote tweet. It was just like, when are we allowed to say no?
Yeah.
Like, someone says that out loud, that that's what they're doing, right? And we can't just say no. Like, we
Well,
shouldn't.
and like you see what there was an attempt in the big beautiful bill to put in this law preventing any state from regulating AI on its own in any
Yes,
way
I
over
saw
the
it.
next decade, which was pushed out of the. It's not in the bill, but now Trump instead is just going to issue an executive order claiming that this is
Right.
key because if we don't build AI as unfettered and quickly as possible, then we're going to lose out to China or what have you.
And you do get like a lot of Republicans who maybe not enough to quite get it over the line, but like there is like an irony again of like the same Republicans who have gone to war about like states' rights in education,
Yeah.
are just like, no,
Abortion, right?
the state shouldn't have any say in the doomsday device that is now in my computer and phone.
Right. I mean, we're basically back to Dr. Strangelove, right? I mean, we
Yeah.
can't have a doomsday machine gap, right? Like,
That's right. That's right.
all right. So let's pivot to this article. This article is, as we said, from the fall of 2016. It's by Tad Friend, longtime New Yorker staff writer, who has a memoir from this time called, or a little after, called Cheerful Money, Me, My Family, and the Last Days of Wasp Splendor. Sounds like my kind of thing.
I brought this up when we were thinking about sort of some topics, because it is one of those. I mean, you have hundreds, but more normal people who listen to the show can relate to, like, you do have a few things, articles and stuff that like stick in your mind for years and years,
Sure.
And I remember reading this when I was once actually a subscriber to the New Yorker.
I was until this year. I only cut it off
this year.
I cut it off this year. I was like, I do not need to be paying $200 a year.
Yeah,
for
I
this.
think I left shortly after I read this article, actually.
It's a wise man.
And I just remember, like, obviously at the time, I mean, I'm still so ignorant about AI, even though I seem to be reading about it every day. But like, I back then obviously knew very little other than like the sci-fi notions.
Sure. I mean, nobody did.
Like the reason I brought up the quote tweet from before is like I remember reading it 10 years ago, like 2016, and actually having the exact thought of like, wait a minute, like, do we have the ability to like not do this?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I saw a tweet that was literally 2 days ago, which was like, everybody knows that we should just nuke Silicon Valley. like, and I was kind of like, well, that's a little violent. But this
we'll talk about
the sentiment though. I was kind of like, yeah, I mean, we're not far off. So yeah, Tad Friend.
We'll get into a bit of that. Let's get to
let me a little background. So I think of Tad Friend as like a kind of a Whit Stillman of the New York belletristic set. Although I think that's sort of an insult to Whit Stillman, who I think, if nothing else, is a consummate artist. And we actually should probably do one of his movies. Are you a Whit Stillman fan?
No, I mean, I don't.
You've never seen The Last Days of Disco or
Metropolitan?
Yeah. It's not quite apocalyptic, but it is sort of era-ending, transitional. We can make it apocalyptic. But I mean, it's a little unfair to Stillman, who I think is actually a great artist. And then I wrote in my notes, who is the Todd Solondz of the New York belletristic set? For some reason, Solondz and Stillman are linked in my mind. Just same era, I guess. Anyway, it's about our boy, Sam Altman, born April 22nd, 85 in Chicago, grew up in Missouri, is gay, came out in high school in apparently a very impactful way that had a positive impact on his private school, where, believe it or not, homophobia was running amok in the early 2000s. I can't possibly believe that was the case. Psych. Then he went to Stanford, and you're not going to believe this, Michael. He dropped out.
Yeah.
for only 2 years. Which I think is really funny because, Bill Gates kind of started the ball rolling on that,
I love this trend. Yeah.
dropping out of Harvard in the 70s or whatever to go on to start Microsoft. Zuckerberg famously does the same thing, drops out of Harvard in the early 2000s. And just a couple years later, do you think like there was like a text, like an email chain, like Zuck has dropped out, and then Altman's like, all right, I gotta pull the plug also. Just like
it's like a PR move almost, right? It's like it helps with the origin story, but it's also fun because like you do still have to go.
Yeah,
right?
You have to get in.
You have to get in.
Yeah. And then you have to be
I think the next guy, whoever's next, is just gonna like put out on like TikTok all of his acceptance letters and like burn them. Straight to the valley.
I'm going straight to Nick Fuentes funded. I'm working on RaceBot, the Nick Fuentes racist AI. Yeah, I mean, God, what a galling trend. As an educator, it's like I don't care if you graduate from college or not. I don't think college is the be all and end all, but like this sort of I'm better than college.
I mean, I think that what's interesting is that the people who actually show the value or the lack of an imperative to go to college are precisely not these people, right? That like we're talking about people who, are maybe vocational, right? Still doing like brilliant, important work and like need different types of training, don't need to go to higher education.
That's right.
But what is interesting is that someone exactly like this could actually really use some goddamn temperance, which is something that actually can be afforded by a worthwhile, college or university.
By taking a couple non-STEM classes, maybe
taking some time. Like, and again, I don't know if it would do anything, but it is
Probably
an
not,
interesting notion that these like revolutionary visionaries who have, made the world so wonderful to live in have all followed this exact sort of path, right?
Yeah, I think their lack of deeper emotional health and intelligence is a thread that we could perhaps follow. So this article comes from an era when Altman was head of the Y Combinator, which is
rather sensationally too.
Yeah, and I mean Y Combinator is an incubator, I think is the word for it, where they basically select a bunch of promising companies.
Yeah, so 14,000 in this year.
14,000 applied, and how many get picked? Like 120, something like that. So it's much harder to get into than even Stanford. I have a little experience with this because a couple of my friends from college, Tom Lehman, Mahmoud Magadam, and Ilan Zakori, did Y Combinator back in 2011 for their company Rap Genius, as it was then known.
Oh, ever heard of it?
Yeah, and these were like close friends of mine, like people I spent a lot of time with. They were a little bit younger than I was, but I hung around Yale for a couple of years working as a research assistant, and I got to be really close with them when my friends from my year had all graduated. And they were, huge hit, very successful at Y Combinator, and that led to TechCrunch and huge funding rounds from Andreessen Horowitz and Dan Gilbert and all these big venture,
all the best of us,
all the best people who've ever lived. And I just remember it being this kind of breathless hype machine that's so symptomatic of the kind of tech industry where it was like infinite growth, of course, like you were just saying, just like this.
Like the response to the first tech bubble was like, what if bigger?
Yeah, and I mean exactly, and that the idea was that there'd be like a new Facebook, a new Twitter, a new Google every couple years, and that companies like Y Combinator are just the ones who are leading the way towards that nirvana. And I mean, my friends did quite well. They raised a lot of money. The company ultimately did not become the next Facebook. I think it's still a good company, but they sold it in 2021 to holding companies. I mean, they kind of cut bait, but
one of those childhood dreams you have, finally selling to a holding company.
Yeah, it's what I hope to do with this podcast as soon as humanly possible.
The end of the world with Michael and Stu has been sold to a holding company for an undisclosed number, but they did pretty well. Let's just say that. They did pretty well.
They've both moved to Corfu, where we're sad to report they have died of typhus. No. Sorry, it's not the end of Lolita. Okay, so Altman's the second head of the Y Combinator.
And the heir apparent, right?
Yeah, and he's appointed in 2014. A couple details from the article. He loves cargo shorts. Awful. He's a workaholic maniac.
Oh, weird. Got to get in that.
I could not have ever seen that.
I figured he was kind of just hands off.
It's sort of lazy. Yeah. He plows through emails. No way.
Oh, thanks.
There's a sort of instructive passage from the article. And of course, the article will be linked. And I think it's free to read in the notes to the show, to the episode. Though he is given to gee-whizzery about anything super awesome, small amounts of radiation are actually good for you. It's called radiation hormesis. He has scant interest in the specifics of the apps that many Y Combinator companies produce. What intrigues him is their potential effect on the world. To determine that, he'll upload all he needs to know about, say, urban planning or nuclear fusion. Patrick Collison, the CEO of the electronic payments company Stripe, likened Altman's brain to the claw machine on a carnival midway. It roams around, but has the ability to plunge very deep when necessary. I thought this was really funny because, like, the famous thing about the claw machine on the carnival midway is that it never fucking grabs anything, right? I mean, that it's a scam.
But I think that
pump
that
money
is,
in and you're like reaching and it slips out. You didn't get the Nintendo Switch or whatever's in that freaking box, right?
This passage, like, briefly had me being like, is the writer taking a shot, actually?
I mean,
like,
I think he is subtly.
Because it's like, this is a thing, and I think this is consistent with Altman and the others, where the sort of like erratic mind that presents as genius in modern tech society. Yeah. That, like, Elon Musk will sit for an hour and talk about 70 things or whatever. But when it really comes down to it, they also can plunge so deep. And I'm actually just like, no, they don't.
Yeah.
That's the thing. They actually do not. They give the illusion that they can then, upload all he needs to know about urban planning or nuclear fusion. I'm just going to say, no, that doesn't happen.
Right. I mean, these are disciplines people study for decades.
Right. If he's working with a Y Combinator app that is going to, create a problem in the guise of a solution when it comes to urban planning, and he's like, okay, got it, figured out everything about urban planning. It's like, no, you didn't, man. That's not the way it works.
There used to be a word for this. This word was hubris, right?
Well, yes, and again, it goes into this like real renaissance, or at least like we're in this particularly heightened moment of like the great man theory across sort of all sectors, right?
Yeah.
Where like these things, in order to develop this type of technology socially in any coherent way where we might be able to avoid complete and utter catastrophe, would require like such depth so that it would slow everything down.
Yep.
Right. And instead, that sort of runs up against the very ethos of America and Silicon Valley.
Move fast and break things.
Cutting red tape and development. What's the next thing? What's next? And, now we're just in this sort of like undefinable feeling like whole, like a firmament of disaster sort of surrounds everything. And it's because these people can act like they've plunged very deep when necessary, when that's just quite clear, as evidenced by the impact of all of these apps,
Yeah.
Like when someone came up with DoorDash at Y Combinator, did he really play out what a nightmare this was going to be? No.
Yeah. So Altman denies having Asperger's, but has all the symptoms. What a shock. Is obsessed with effective people. Now here, this is the other thing that really bothered me about this. He's constantly talking about people as a means to an end, which is a violation of the Kantian categorical imperative, which is the great secular moralistic, device in Western philosophy.
Why don't you get Altman? Maybe Altman could upload Kant just like that.
I mean, it's very simple though, right? I mean, the two things are like, treat every one of your actions as if it could be regarded as a universal law. So if you do something, you abstract to be like, would anyone in my position do this thing? Would it be? And if you
Yeah.
can immediately be like, no, a good person would not, like,
Yeah.
don't do it. And then the other is always treat other human beings as an end in themselves and never as a means to an end. And yet, like, this entire Y Combinator project is entirely about instrumentalizing other human beings
Yeah.
towards this like grand vision of
Right. And the trick, right? The illusion is it's presented as this beneficial universality when most humans would not be doing.
And it's also presented as though it's salvationary for mankind.
Yeah.
Like, actually, no. Oh, I'm not using, your foolish friends who've signed up for this for their little payment app or whatever. No. I'm saving the world.
They're not going to have jobs, right? That, I'm sorry. Like, they're just all those people are getting fired. But the good news is they're fools. So why would
it's an amazing scam, Y Combinator, right? They get 5 to 7% of any company they boost, and they only give them
like 100K.
100K, and
they're like, we got to keep them on ramen, so they're focused. Which is another point that really irritated me. I just want to quickly say, where it's like this is a great example of the fake, like, plunging deep when necessary, but actually just like the sheer erratic nature of all of this and the desperate quest for 10x, 100x, a billion X or whatever, right? Is that you give them this money that makes them lean, right? That's what they keep saying, like desperate. And it's like, it's no wonder then that the negative consequences of their creations are not considered. Yeah. Why would they be? They are trying to get this thing done that they've been, cool idea. Here's the bare minimum. Go at it.
You have 3 months to present this to our group.
Okay. Airbnb. It's like, cool. Now you've destroyed communities
and the hotel
market.
Industry.
Perfect.
So there's they put in crumbs, but by 2016, the companies they'd backed were worth $80 billion. Which is a lot. I checked up on this recently, and I think that number is now something like $800 billion.
Good.
In the article a little later, Altman talks about being bigger than Google, that Y Combinator could become a multi-trillion-dollar company. Happy to report that almost 10 years later, that dream is not a reality. But they
score one for the good guys.
They still have had the 10x multiplication in the companies that they backed or whatever. So here's a quote from the article. Y Combinator somewhat gets to direct the course of technology. Consumers decide ultimately, but enough people view Y Combinator as important that if we say we're super excited about virtual reality, college students will start studying it. Soon after taking over, he wrote a blog post declaring that science seems broken and calling for applications from companies in energy, biotech, artificial intelligence, robotics, and 8 other fields. As a result, I love this distinction, without a difference. As a result, the once nerdy Y Combinator is now aggressively geeky.
Ah, right.
Oh, of course, the well-known difference between nerdy and geeky and like aggressively. Yeah. And are geeks somehow like less moral than already known to be immoral nerds?
Right. But again, like this goes back to what we were just talking about. Like when you cast a net this wide in this way, and you superficially declare you're excited about virtual reality, or you just kind of sit there at your computer like, science seems broken. I was uploading energy and biotech to my brain, and it seems a little broken. Right, that like
what reminds me of is, won't somebody rid me of this meddlesome bishop? It's like Henry II and
what comes
Thomas
out of
Becket. Right?
What comes out of it is like when someone plunders something, they get oftentimes they get in and they get out. Right, like you're going in like you're a pirate, and you're boarding the ship and you're taking the best of it and you're getting out.
Like the Vikings, yeah.
And that's very similar here, where it's like they go into like biotech, for example, and they're like, what's the quickest, like, where's the treasure chest, right? Forget about all of the other like aspects of
Oh,
everything that is
the
going on.
burning monastery,
Yeah,
the murder,
exactly.
the children who are trapped
That's
inside.
right.
None of
That's
that
right.
matters,
That's
right?
right. And then they act as though they've moved humanity forward, right?
Yeah. So Graham is the founder from the 90s of Y Combinator who passed the torch to Altman in 2014 because he wanted to have a family. How odd.
Mm.
And he fetishized, believe it or not, hackers. He was like, hackers can be like so productive. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, you're from the 90s. Got it. Airbnb, as we already mentioned, one of their huge successes. A rent-seeking operation that costs the company itself nothing to, doesn't own any property, doesn't even need to really have offices, can just be some servers. And as you said, destroys neighborhoods, markets, communities, lives. Great. It's a measure, another quote from the article. It's a measure of Altman's ambition that he compares Y Combinator to Alphabet. I already kind of talked about this. Google's parent company, which is also composed of independent units that collaborate, and likewise has a moonshot division, the X Research Group.
You got to
Interesting.
have a moonshot division.
Who doesn't?
Have you applied to any moonshot divisions yet, Stu?
I mean, what is poetry if not the ultimate moonshot division? He recently tweeted that YC's empire had reached 14% of the value of Alphabet, whose market cap is among the world's largest, adding, long way to go. It's a blatantly unfair comparison. Blah, blah, blah. Yet Altman told me that, unlike Google, we grow faster as we get bigger. We'll catch them in 10 years. We could catch them. That, as I said earlier, that didn't work out. Another thing is Graham, the founder of the things, has this whole, like, we filter out jerks when we do Y Combinator, which is not true. Like, he wrote an essay, Mean People Fail, in which, and then to the right, Tad Friend, I give credit, ignoring such possible counterexamples as Jeff Bezos and Larry Ellison, two of the three richest men in the world, he declared that being mean makes you stupid and discourages good people from working for you. And my note for that is, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah. Just
like,
no evidence for this.
Like, this is not true of anyone who's ever worked anywhere.
So much of this whole attitude is about just like making what you're doing seem like it's good and seem like it's elevated. Like there's this quote from earlier in the article that I just wanted to touch
please.
On. That Altman, as he nursed a Negroni after dinner, key detail, had his own warning for the timid. Democracy only works in a growing economy. Without a return to economic growth, the democratic experiment will fail. And I have to think that YC is hugely important to that growth. Well, here we are 10 years later, right?
Brilliant.
And we've definitely seen some economic growth.
A lot.
Right? And it doesn't seem like it
is helping
to the democratic experiment, did it now? And like, again, it's the same way. AI for humanity, growth for democracy. None of this.
What I am doing is good because I say so.
Because I am doing it and it is making me so much money and giving me so much power.
Yeah. And, the
other thing I wanted to say was because there was this little bit about, they were friends talking about his mentality a bit. And I want to read this equation for Stu in particular to get your thoughts on it. Okay.
Please.
In a class that Altman taught at Stanford in 2014, he remarked that the formula for estimating a startup's chance of success is
I love this.
Something like, which is a great way to start a formula, something like idea times product times execution times team times luck, where luck is a random number between 0 and 10,000.
Oh,
like this is the type of thing.
I mean, didn't Pythagoras basically already set this down in 500 BC?
This is the type of thing that these people, they go to Stanford, or they go to the Valley, and they're like clapping after stuff like this.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, so
absolute
like
drivel.
You see like a student writing like idea, and then like underneath it, and like trying to figure out how to multiply the words, the letters.
Yeah.
It's really just like what
it's like, how do you, like, just the balls to just be like, yeah, my formula, idea times product times execution times team times luck. Luck is random. It's like this belongs in like on an office poster. It's like it's no different than like those like where there's like a shot, there's like a mountaintop,
Like
and it's like
live, laugh, love. I mean,
yeah,
it's as
exactly.
insubstantial as that,
That's
right?
exactly
So
right.
we get a little color on Altman. He says, I like racing cars. I have 5, including 2 McLarens and an old Tesla. I like flying rented planes all over California. Oh, and one odd one. I prep for survival. But
Okay, I just want to jump in here
please.
because this I remember reading this 10 years ago. And this was the point where I started yelling at the article.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if you've ever had that sensation
Yeah, when I
where it's
read
like
this article last night.
like the framing of this in keeping with the long American tradition of glossy profiles for hideous men.
Yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Where it's like they hit you with the most American thing, right? You know what I do, man? I just want to get on the open road and drive a car.
Oh,
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 there's this other weird thing about me. It's just kind of like, like the cars thing. It's I'm preparing for survival.
he goes on
Like,
to say,
like, what?
yeah, yeah. He says, my problem is that when my friends get drunk, they talk about the ways the world will end. Oh, maybe this is a germane topic for us after all.
Mm-hmm.
After a Dutch lab modified the H5N1 bird flu virus 5 years ago, making it super contagious, the chance of a lethal synthetic virus being released in the next 20 years became, well, non-zero. The other most popular scenarios would be AI that attacks us and nations fighting with nukes over scarce resources. It's like, wow, you've seen
Incredible.
some fucking movies, you
Yeah.
fucking dunce. Like, oh, yeah, great. Uh,
But it's also like this the reason I wanted to talk about this article, right?
no,
Is
it's
that
great.
it's
I mean, I
this
hate
it's
it,
this
but I love it.
yeah, it's this recognition, even in this completely insubstantial way that sort of tongue in cheek, my friends are sitting around. And then he describes like pandemics and AI, malevolent AI. And we're just like,
And nuclear war.
yes, and we're just moving down all of these paths, right? And
Let's
he
have RFK in it.
but
That'll
he goes
that'll solve the
beyond,
pandemics, right?
like he goes beyond, right? Like there's more to it than just the way he threw it out there, because then he starts talking about, well, I try not to think about it too much, the end of the world,
Because
I
he's
guess,
talking about it with some Y Combinator kids or whatever.
because I guess while you are actively helping bring about the apocalypse, it's counterproductive, Stu, to sit back and think about it. The man has a job after all. And the next quote is, but I do have guns, gold, potassium iodide, antibiotics, batteries, water, gas masks from the IDF, and a big patch of land in Big Sur I can fly to. This is in
And then
2016.
he says Peter Thiel will allow him to come to his compound in New Zealand if
Yes,
need
and
be.
one wonders, it made me wonder, because he specifically says in the article, if the pandemic does come, Altman's backup plan is to fly with his friend Peter Thiel to his house in New Zealand.
And I don't think they meant the COVID pandemic. I think they meant this much
Right.
more deadlier H5N1.
Right. And I think we will eventually do an episode that goes a little deeper into the truly insane stories of the level to which survivalism has swept this level of wealth. But to me, this notion, just the seed of this from 10 years ago, remains the ultimate indictment of these people.
Yeah.
That even like thinking they are so clever that they're seeing all the possibilities, and realize that like functionally what they are doing will necessitate, likely or even potentially, having to buy land in Big Sur that no one else can get to while I sit around just like mainlining potassium iodide.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Like,
it's
hey,
great.
stop there then, bud.
Yeah, maybe quit your job and he has something like $2 billion. I think he'd probably be
Right,
okay if you
right.
just stopped all this. One thing I wrote is that this kind of article is so detestable because it gives these delusional evil ghouls the patina of respectability just by its existing, right? Like the
Absolutely.
article. That's
It's
what
like the equivalent of like Trump on SNL, you know?
absolutely, or Jimmy Fallon petting his hair or whatever, right?
That's right.
So just moving along, someone referred to him as the startup Yoda, and I wrote, finally, a new Yoda. Yoda's come up. I'm fond of Yoda, but the idea of Altman as Yoda is insulting to his memory. May he rest in
Yeah.
peace. Um, finally we get back to AI a little bit. I mean, this is mainly an article about Y Combinator, and this is before, the OpenAI is mentioned a bunch, but it was a seed. It was this sort of, as we were discussing at the beginning of the episode, as the group discussed artificial intelligence, Altman recognized, he told me, that there's absolutely no reason to believe that in about 13 years, so that'd be 2029, we won't have hardware capable of replicating my brain. Well, maybe your brain.
God.
Maybe your brain.
Finally, 2 Altman brains, and potentially infinite Altman brains.
Thank God.
What more could humanity ask for?
And then he says, yes, certain things still feel particularly human.
Oh, good.
Creativity, flashes of inspiration from nowhere, the ability to feel happy and sad at the same time. Wow.
Our Plato, huh?
We got a real Freud over here, yeah. But computers will have their own desires and goal systems.
Oh, good.
When I realized that intelligence can be simulated, I let the idea of our uniqueness go, and it wasn't as traumatic as I thought. Well, I'm glad.
Yes, Stu, I think it's important to say that whenever any person or group manage to let go of the idea that humans are unique, it always goes extremely well. But again, speaking about the sort of veneer of respectability, right? Like that is a stone's throw from eugenics. You know what I mean?
I mean, absolutely.
It's
these lesser people over here, these better, yeah.
That's right. And the reason I think
this has never been like an ideation for a sort of nation state.
Yeah, not me. I mean, in fairness, my brain doesn't plunge quite so deep when necessary. So maybe I'm missing something. But it is.
You don't have that. You don't have that carnival claw.
That's right. That's exactly right. But it's this situation where. Again, the comparison I was making just before, it feels similar to Trump in terms of, and why it's interesting that it's from the same moment. In fact,
I mean, they're against Trump. They're talking about.
Altman says, like, I think, I guess the best idea is to support Hillary, basically, right? But, like, you see a parallel in the way that the normalization has led to destructive outcomes
with extreme short-termism, right?
From Trump and the AI people, where to this day, you will like load up an episode of The Daily, right?
Yep.
Where the most obscene treatment of migrants, right, is going on every day, and once a week they almost are forced to cover it because it's gotten
say nothing of the 2 years of massacre in Gaza.
And yet, like every single episode of The Daily is still a desperate quest to normalize. So every Michael Barbaro is like, and is this tell me, Rebecca, is this something that other presidents have done in the past? Well, no, actually. This is sort of new territory.
This is a new normal, actually.
Oh, okay. And but he did get the go ahead from the Supreme Court on that, right? Oh, yes, okay, so it will be complicated, hard to stop that. And to me, it feels very similar here, where if 10 years ago, if anything, right, how do I say this? The way that we knew Trump across society in, say, 2014 or 15 was far better than the way we know him now, despite the 10 years of massive overexposure, right? That we were able to assess him most accurately when he was on the stage of the Republican primaries when we didn't think he could win the presidency.
Yep.
And after that, you lose the capability. And when I read this article 10 years ago, I was like, oh, this guy's an absolute monster.
Yeah.
Now
he's a ghoul.
And now he's a genius, and he's, sitting on chairs in Davos, and everyone's talking about how important.
Which he already was at this point, but now he's doing it. Now he's at the head. She's at the top chair, right?
Right. It's just that as you let these things unfold, just like.
But I mean, he also reminds me. This reminds me exactly of all the breathless profiles of Sam Bankman-Fried. Someone who was revealed to be an utter fraud and a complete criminal.
Well, but that's the trick of capitalism, right? Is that like you're not a fraud because you make money.
Yeah.
Right?
No, absolutely.
Because like that's the it's like what was her name? Elizabeth Holmes, right?
My favorite, my idol.
Like, so she's a fraud, right? Whereas like I'm like, look, her idea is way more helpful
and like
than Sam Altman's
more
idea.
pragmatic applications.
I'm cheering her on. I wanted that thing to be real. I'm a hypochondriac, I'd love to be able to get out of bed, get a quick update. right? But she's such a fraud. And it's like, this is fraudulent. What is going on across the board with these people,
Yeah,
just like Trump, this is a fraud that is just working for a certain length of time.
absolutely. Short term. So just a couple more quotes. There's a pre-insane Elon Musk quote. I have pre-insane in very large scare quotes. Musk told me, if the AI that they develop goes awry, we risk having an immortal and super powerful dictator forever. Murdering all competing AI researchers as its first move strikes me as a bit of a character flaw. And again, I write, this is Rocco's Basilisk, Eliezer Yudkowsky bullshit. We haven't covered that in detail. We should do that. Maybe do something on the Zizians
Sure.
in the next couple months, just because I think it's related to this. It's interesting. Tad Friend's kind of underwhelmed by the AI of 2016. I wonder what he thinks about 2025. Is he like one of these people who's like, it's sentient, it's alive? I don't know. So he also says some futurists, Da Vinci, Verne, von Braun, like, okay, we obviously know my thoughts on Da Vinci. It's well-worn territory. Jules Verne, I think, is fine. Jules Verne is a sci-fi novelist, whatever. Werner von Braun? Like, that guy was a Nazi rocket scientist who, like, Operation Paperclipped his way over to America and was like, yeah, we're going to the moon. You know, it's like, these are, like, what the fuck? These are the people you're, like, Da Vinci, a literal con man, right? Jules Verne, an actual novelist, and Werner von Braun, a Nazi rocket scientist. Like, these are the points of comparison. It's amazing. God.
Let's get the last quote in.
The last quote from Altman. Basically, he just admits that he's a sociopath, right? He says, more generally, he observed, the missing circuit in my brain, the circuit that would make me care what other people think about me, is a real gift. Most people want to be accepted, so they won't take risks that could make them look crazy, which actually makes them wildly miscalculate risk. It's just like, motherfucker, what are you talking about? Like,
I mean, look, to go back to the very beginning, right?
Yeah.
About this way that this brain works. And we're told it in the article with this degree of reverence. Like, he can upload and then go deep and all this stuff. It's like, this is the best example, I think, of his inability to go deep.
Yeah.
Right? Because a lot of people with these particular problems I'll actually also have a really hard time calculating the actual risk when in an actual society. Well, right?
Right. I mean, if you aren't able to imagine the feelings of other people or care about their opinions, then the choices you're going to make are going to be horrible.
Right. But then this is, again.
But you're like, no, it's not me. It's the children who are wrong, well, right?
Again,
I mean,
but again, it really ties in. It's all these personalities. The Altman here is laid bare with his own words. But it is this notion that it's a gift. It's the same way with, like, AI is great for humanity. You know, all of these apps and, you know, destroying all of these sectors is actually the best way forward. It's all surface level. Like, I got lucky. I don't even care what people think about me. Like, how can you put these people in charge of anything? Like,
yeah,
and then, like, yeah. Anyway, so to me,
it's like, what could be more anti-democratic than not caring what X number of people?
Yeah.
There's another part we didn't quote where he talks about how many people would you kill to save the people you care about, and he's immediately like 100K.
Yeah.
After that, I'd start killing my friend. It's just, I'm just like, bro, what the fuck is the point of this idiotic game? Like,
that's right.
I mean, the correct answer is fucking 0. Jesus Christ. All right.
But again, the last thing I want to say about this quote is that, like, it shows the trick of logic that they employ so much, where it makes it look like it allows them to go deeper, when in fact, assessing your very real mental health problem the way that he did in his own words shows that he has no ability to do anything other than to stay on the absolute surface.
That's right. I mean, my big takeaway from it is that, like, throughout this piece, he sounds like a slightly more personally secure Elon Musk, but he's just as sociopathically focused on pie in the sky bullshit that will do infinitely more harm despite the salvationary agenda it purports to enact.
Yep.
All right. Well,
this was fun.
This is a good one. I really hated reading this, but I think you had some really great insights, Michael. I really enjoyed talking about this with you. We haven't decided what we're going to be doing next week. Probably a movie. I'm feeling a movie. You movie?
Yeah, I need to take the foot off the gas here.
This is a little.
Again, it lives in my brain.
Yeah, we did this. We did a cult.
Rent free, as they say.
Yeah, we did a cult. We did this. Even Network. The hated Network episode. No, people liked it fine. But in the meantime, if you do like the show, you can follow us on the podcatcher of your choice. And if you really like it, you can leave us a rating and or review on that podcatcher. You can also follow us on Instagram at the End of the World WMS, where we post captivating reels from the show. So yeah, we'll be back with a movie, probably something lighter, something fun.
Yeah.
And
maybe Ace Ventura. No.
That's a bit problematic. I don't know if you're.
Well, that's why we would talk about it.
Yeah, the end of the world because of its like incredibly transphobic ending. I don't know if we're quite there yet, but episode 199 maybe. Yeah, this will be episode 99 too coming up, so it's exciting. So we'll be back next week. Until then, this has been the End of the World with Michael and Stu.
I'm Michael.
And I'm Stu, and we will talk to you real soon.